All right, let's go. So, thanks for being here, everybody. Feel free, if you want to leave your mics on and comment anytime. Um, if there's something that's not clear, I just want to let you know that I did make a document, which is referenced here on the screen sharing, go.augsburg.edu/Mac shortcuts, or you can point your phone at the QR code there and open it up that way. Also, I'm happy to give you the recording afterwards if you're interested in that, and or meet one-on-one with you, or any of those combined. So I've got this full screen slide here, and I want to move to something else. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but when you go full screen, you lose your menu across the top, where it says File and Edit and View and all that, and then the dock at the bottom, which of course I can move my mouse down, keep dragging it until that shows up, but it keeps disappearing. So I thought to start out, I'll just share, if you have a Mac laptop with a trackpad on it, you can use three fingers to swipe left and right, and that moves between full screen, either one full screen thing and something else that's full screen, or the full screen thing and whatever else you had open behind it. So I'll be covering more about Windows resizing later, but that's how I moved from one to the other, with three fingers swiping to the right. Now, in Zoom here, and this is the document you can get to with that shortcut. I can also put this address in the Zoom chat. There we go. Okay, so if you're going to take notes today, how many of you would use Google Docs? You can raise your hands or just unmute and say aye. I'm guessing several of you, right?
Yeah, I have a
So
doc.
what is the normal way that we get to a Google Doc? Well, I don't have my email open, so I might go to Inside Augsburg, and some people I've seen use a search engine to find the Inside Augsburg page, and then you log in, and then maybe you go to webmail first because that's where you're familiar with, and then maybe you click on the Rubik's Cube in the upright, and then you go to Drive, and then you go to New, and then Document, and finally you have a new document to take notes in. I have a much faster way. So even without Inside Augsburg open, even if you're not logged into Inside Augsburg, you're probably logged into your Google Suite at Augsburg. So in two steps, you can get to a new document. You can generate a new document. That is Command T. That's for new tab. It works in any browser. And then you type doc.new. Now, how in the world can that work? That's a website, right? Doc.new is a website. Google bought the .new domain. So you can type doc.new, sheet.new, slides.new, and form.new to make a new Google Doc or Google Slides or Google Sheets in your Google Drive automatically, and start taking notes. And then if you put in the name of the document up at the top there, maybe you make it a title style, and then you click the untitled document, it will take the words in the first line and make that the name of the document. So in three super quick steps, you've gotten a new Google Doc that's automatically saved. It's in your drive, and you can easily share it. So that's my first tip. Now I'm curious which browser you all are using. So I'm going to launch a quick poll. I would love to know which browser or browsers you use frequently. So check all that apply. And once you've answered that, then got four answers. Let's get a couple more. Six, maybe one or two more. All right. So I'm going to end the poll and share the results. As I suspected, Chrome is the number one. Safari comes in second, and because that's probably because you're a Mac crew, Safari comes on your dock at the bottom, built in, and there are some benefits to Safari. What's the number one thing that people concern they have about Chrome or Google in general, would you say? Anyone think about privacy? There's a quote that says Chrome is built for tracking, and Brave, that's another browser I'm going to show you, is built for privacy. So if you find yourself thinking, I wish I would have all the features of Chrome, but it had more privacy and actually more features, you might be interested in a new product called Brave. And to get to Brave on my computer, I'm not going to go to my Finder and then to applications and then scroll and then find it here. Instead, I'm going to use another shortcut, and that is Command and the space bar on my keyboard. What does that do? That brings up something called the Spotlight. On a Mac, the Spotlight is always running and always available. Other people will start it by using this little magnifying glass in the upper right corner, but I like Command and space bar. That's already covered in the notes here. And then I can just type the first letter of the thing I'm looking for, Brave, and hit the Enter key, and I'm in Brave. So when you're looking for anything, that could be a document, that could be an application, that could be a folder. You can use Spotlight to find that. So now I've got Brave here, and normally this icon is sitting over here on the right, to the right of this vertical line here. And what does that mean? Oops. I just lost my, there we go. What does that mean when you've got a document to the right of this vertical line? That means it's going to go away when you quit it. So if I quit this Chrome Canary here, it disappears. Well, it didn't because it's remembering the last three things that I've got open there. But if I had a fourth thing open and quit it, it would disappear. So anytime you want to keep something available, like Brave, if you start using Brave, you would just drag it over to somewhere left of this vertical line and it'll stay there. You can also resize your dock at the bottom if you're curious, keeping it large so it's easy for you to see. Holler anytime if anything's hard to see on the screen. So how do you get Brave? It's literally brave.com. And what
How
is
did you
Brave?
resize that dock, Nathan?
What's that?
How did you resize that dock?
The dock at the bottom, you point at the vertical line, press your mouse, and then drag up and down.
Okay,
Thanks for asking. So
thanks.
Brave.com. Now, Brave is built on the same core engine as Chrome. So it does the same things as Chrome and more. I'm going to show you my favorite shortcut at the near the end of this session. But that's how you get to Brave. All right, I'd like to set Brave as my default browser. So I'm going to use this option. It's built in right at the top there, so that when I do future things with the Spotlight, it comes up in Brave automatically. So what else can we do with the Spotlight? Let's say we want to do some calculations. So I type C for calculator, hit enter, and there's the calculator. But what if I want an even faster way of calculating something? I want to see 25 divided by 4. You can do calculations inside of the Spotlight. So it's an automatic conversion tool there, math tool. You can also do initials of longer applications like Microsoft Remote Desktop, which we use as Mac users to run a Windows computer remotely. We can also do P for PowerPoint. And in PowerPoint, maybe I want a more futuristic looking presentation, so I can type in and search for additional themes here and get a PowerPoint. And then maybe I want to have kind of my screen split up here, right? I want to have the presentation on the right and some web resources in Brave on the left. So how would you normally get this resized? Well, a lot of people I've seen will drag a window over and then go to the corner and drag it, or go sideways and drag it and then drag the bottom down and then go to the next one and drag it over. But the Mac comes with all sorts of tools to help you rearrange things and save time. And They're available by pointing at the green icon in the upper left corner. If you're interested in and you have the if you have the zoom controls up at the top there and they're in the way, you can drag them out of the way or you can hide them with Control Option Command and H for hide, or the three dots at the end. Anyway, once you point to the green thing, you can say, "Oh, move this to the right half of this monitor," and then you can point to some other green circle and make that tiled on the left side. So that way you divide up your screen evenly. And there's also options to go full screen. This full screen is different than just clicking the green button. If I click this one, it fills the screen, but it doesn't take away my menus at the top or my dock at the bottom. So I'd recommend considering those options. What else can we do with the spotlight? Let's say we want to start up a clock, and maybe I want to remind myself to stop before the end of this presentation in 39 minutes for questions. So we'll start the clock and I'll say 39 minutes and start. And I can actually close this window and the clock is still running up in the upper right corner in my system tray, and it's going to make a nice sound at the end of 39 minutes. A few other things with the spotlight, you can do conversions. So let's say for just for fun, we're doing some research on a trip we're going to take to Brazil for the Women's World Cup in 2027. So we want to do a conversion of let's say 1100 real. It automatically knows to go to US dollars. So that it's a live conversion based on the current stock, the current market. And then maybe we want to look up Rio de Janeiro weather. It's smart enough to figure out I don't need to put in Janeiro. I can put Rio de weather, and it just tells us the current weather down there. And then maybe we want to look up a flight. I know that United has a flight 845 that flies down to Brazil. I can check the time on that. Uh, and yeah, the details. And then I can look up things in a dictionary too. So like I'm always confused by offsides, let's say in soccer. I can hold down Command D for a dictionary definition of offsides. That's a built-in dictionary that's connected to the internet. And then I can select something, right click it and copy it. Or what's the keyboard shortcut for copy? Command C, right? I always recommend using the keyboard and not your mouse whenever you can. Just a couple more shortcuts in Spotlight, and then we'll move on to some more interesting things. Let's say we want to do a web search for offsides. Instead of Command D for dictionary, it's Command B for a browser search, and it goes to your default browser. In this case, I had set up Brave as my default browser. And again, I could copy Command C to copy that, and I could go somewhere else, like a slide here, and paste that content in, which doesn't fit. All right. What else? Let's see.
Hey,
Yeah, go
Nathan,
ahead.
real quick.
Yep.
Why did it go to DuckDuckGo even though Brave is the default?
Excellent. I'm so glad you asked. Okay. In Brave and in any browser, you get to pick which search engine you use. They're almost all set to Google to start with. But if you go to the settings and search, you can pick the search engine here under Manage Search Engines. And there's a whole bunch of ones you can pick from, or you can, choose your own. Yahoo is not on this list, but you can make Yahoo your default search engine. I picked DuckDuckGo. Now, why did I do that? DuckDuckGo has a really good privacy policy. So let's say you're searching for something that's medical based. You don't have to worry about them sucking up the data like Google sucking it up in Chrome. So Brave plus DuckDuckGo is a great combo. And yeah, I should maybe mention just while we're at it that DuckDuckGo has a great AI tool, super private and super flexible and easy to use. And you can use it for generating any kind of answer in AI that you're interested in. So duck.ai. Let's see, what else? A couple more. Okay, let's say you're reading a web result about offsites here, and the article is too small, the text. You can make it bigger with Command and plus, but then it kind of makes the window sort of divided in half. So there's another option built into Brave called Speed Reader. It's an icon up at the top in the address bar, and it is much like Safari's Reader. When you use this, it shows you just the text. It strips out the images, most of them anyway. And then you can use Command plus to make it bigger, minus to make it smaller, 0 to go to the original size. This also works very well for printing or copying and pasting. That's Speed Reader, available in the address bar of Safari and Brave, both. I can't remember if Chrome has it. I think it does. Let's see. Now, one last thing to do with, I think it's the last thing with the um, Spotlight, and that is I want to find a document. I know I had some World Cup soccer notes, and I really want to find out where I have them stored. So I'm going to arrow down to find it. Oh, weird. It doesn't find it. Oh, that's it right there. Okay. While I'm pointing at it, or I have this document highlighted, I want to find out where it is. So I can hold the Command key down and it'll tell me it's in that folder. And then if I double click while holding Command down, it will go to that folder. And I can see that right here. And then I can rearrange it. So I want to move it to my desktop, for instance. Okay, so I've got my Cup soccer notes, but the name is truncated here, and I don't particularly like that. So let's talk about the different views you have in the Finder window. Up at the top, you can switch between a tile view, a list view, column view, and a gallery view, which is better for images. I like the list view, but I still can't see that this is a Word doc. I know there's a W over there, but I like knowing what kind of things, what kind of a file something is. I don't know why this one says it and this one doesn't, but I want to show you that you can choose in the Finder, Settings, Advanced, to show all file name extensions. Now the docx appeared here. Handy for just knowing what type of a file something is. A couple other things in the Finder. Um, let's see.
Would you repeat that about how to extend the name? You go into Finder and what do you do?
Yeah, up at the top, there are different views here. We were in this view, this column view before. I switched to the list view, the second view.
Okay.
But if you want the option to keep it in the column view and have the column be wider, you can point to this column divider and drag to the right.
Okay.
Some people like column because it gives them the context. So you can see that this file is inside of this folder. That's the third view at the top, column view. Any other questions? All right, let's switch gears here and say that you would like to be able to put some of these documents into Moodle. I know this is not Mac specific, but let's say, let's put this on the right side by hovering and tile it on the right. And then I want to go to Moodle and then dashboard. And I have a quick build course here. If I turn editing on in Moodle, I just want to make sure, because there have been a couple folks that have not known that you can drag content into Moodle. So here I am in week 1, I want to add content, and I can click and hold shift and click the last document, and all 3 will be selected. And then I can drag all 3 into a week in Moodle. And if I need to, I can rearrange them after that. So any kind of files you can drag into Moodle. If you have a video, though, probably best to host it in YouTube or some other tool, and then or Google Drive, and then put a link to it, since Moodle's not a great video repository. So just want to make sure you know about how to rearrange windows, show a certain view in your Finder, and then turn editing on in Moodle and drag files in to save time. That used to be literally 8 steps to add a file in Moodle, and now you can add multiple all in one step. All right. You can unmute and tell me, where do you all store your files? Where's the most common place that you keep your files? Desktop, downloads, Google Drive, FactStaff, orgs,
Google Drive.
Google Drive. I kind of figured. Drive, yep. So, would it be handy if you were able to get to your Google Drive from the Finder? And how many of you already have that set up? Feel free to unmute or text. So we have at least one person that doesn't have Drive set up in the Finder. So I want to show you how to do that. In the help document, the shortcut document I gave you, is a link to Google Drive for desktop. And there is a Mac installer down here. If you install it, it shows up and you open it. It shows up at the top in your bar where your clock is. And you log into it with your Augsburg account, and it can sync your files. So it can show you under preferences here either a streamed copy of your files or an actual mirrored copy, that which downloads everything. I think stream is better. It doesn't take up any space on your hard drive really, and it lets you choose to download files. So just remember, if you have a file like this, this document here that you want to add to Moodle, it's best to click the little cloud symbol to download that fully before dragging it into Moodle. Oops, I got to go back to the settings. So you get to pick which or how you sync to your Google Drive on your computer. And second, you can optionally add in syncing your folders on your computer. So when Eva mentioned using documents, that could be something that you choose to also sync. And that way, you know you're going to have a backup copy of that content on Google Drive as well. I think I'll probably turn that off because that's a decent amount to sync. So I would recommend that. Then how can that be handy or used? Well, if you have your Finder open and you do Command N for a new window, that might be one thing I didn't put in the notes, I just realized. What you can do is you can have Google Drive open on one window, and then maybe your downloads or desktop on another window. And say, oh, you know what? I would like to put some of this stuff that's over here in Google Drive. So let's say I want to put these 4 pictures of World Cup soccer over on the right there. First, I'm going to rename them, get them organized, but I want to see, make sure that they're all 4 actually pictures of what I think they are. So I'm going to press the space bar while I have one of them selected. This is called Quick Look. It's in the notes. Quick Look opens up any document, image, whatever, in a window instantly, and you can use the arrow key to move down and see additional renderings of other files. So that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm looking for something. Now I'm going to click and shift click, right click, and rename. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to right click, rename, and there's this option called format, and then I can choose to name these Women's World Cup, tag on a number 1 at the end. Now they're organized. I can now right click and put them in a folder automatically. And then I can drag that folder over to Google Drive. And it's there. And then if I go to my Brave and look at my drive, you will see there is my folder, WWC, with all the images. So that's a recommendation for you all. Anyone find that useful? All right, good. Next topic is the sidebar. So over here on the side of this Finder window, I've got desktop and downloads, but no documents. And I'd like to add documents. So how do I get to that? Well, I already went into Finder settings and I chose under General to add the hard disk to the desktop as well as the hard disk to the sidebar. That lets me get to users. I'm in the Augie account right now, and I found documents. And I'd like that to be in this sidebar under favorites. So I can drag that and put it between. I don't want to put it inside of something else, but between or above or below anything else there. And then these can be rearranged as needed. You can do the same thing with Google Drive. So you can put the My Drive shortcut over here. You can also pick a particular folder, like the one we just made, and make a shortcut to that for easy access. So that's your sidebar. And then, how many of you find that you get lots of layers of applications, Word, browser, email, Zoom, all layered up on top of each other, and then you think, okay, I really want to get to my desktop. Of course, you could go to the Finder and then desktop, but you want to kind of see the layout because you know where on the desktop something is, right? So what do we normally do? Minimize, minimize, etc. And you go over and over and over until you get everything minimized. And that takes a lot of time. And then you have to maximize them again, right? There's a faster way. It's called hot corners. And here's what it looks like when it's set up. I just move my mouse to the bottom right corner and I can see my desktop instantly. I move my mouse away, I can rearrange things. I can right click and I can do a sort option here. Let's see, sort by name, and it rearranges everything for me. And I say, okay, that's the thing I was looking for. I find it, I double click it, it opens up, and I found what I'm looking for. So again, bottom right corner, I can set up a hot corner to show my desktop. You can pick anything you want to happen that happens when you move to any of your four corners of your screen. That's under System Preferences, which is also available under the Apple System Preferences. And then Hot Corners, Hot Corner Shortcuts. Double click, and I've set up desktop, but there are other options you can see here that you can experiment with. Any questions on that? All right. So knowing what you know about the shortcuts we've already covered, what could I have done to find the hot corners settings without having to go to System Preferences and search there for hot corners? Any other ideas? Think back to the beginning of the session. Spotlight, right? Command, spacebar, hot corners. So you can use the spotlight again for anything. And you'll end up in, finding exactly what you're looking for: a setting, a document, a file, an image, a folder, a fact, a multiplication problem, a conversion, anything you want. So don't forget about that. All right. Let's say next here that you have this document this of Mac tips here, and you're particularly interested in this little table of quick reference things, and you want to keep that open, but you also want to have something else open so you can kind of practice while you keep that open. That's where screenshots are going to come in handy. So there are several ways to do screenshots. My favorite is Shift, Command, and 4. Shift, Command, and 4. That turns your mouse into a crosshair, and then you can drag it diagonally across anything on your screen. A little preview appears in the bottom right, and if you quickly click that preview, you get about 7 seconds. That will stay open and will be floating above everything else. Then you can kind of drag it to the corner of your screen. Can you still see it? Okay. And then you could go somewhere else, right? You could go to some other place and try one of these shortcuts. Okay, I want to close this tab. That's Command W. Hey, it worked great. So Shift Command 4, drag it over something. Could be the weights of your assignments in your syllabus, right? That you want to have in front of you while you're working on the Moodle gradebook setup. So you can see the weights and the gradebook setup. So it's like printing your screen, sort of. Shift Command 4. I combine that with an installation of Dropbox. I use Dropbox only for screenshots. And the benefit of that is because I have set up Dropbox to sync my screenshots to store them, Dropbox automatically creates a URL to the screenshot that I've made that I can just paste from my clipboard. So it's a one-step process to create an image that's shared already, and I have a URL on my clipboard. So I use that daily to send an image. So that it's not set up in this particular instance, I think. I can check, I guess. I can open up a new tab and hit paste. That's not. So, but if you're interested in Dropbox and syncing screenshots, let me know. I can help you set that up afterwards. All right, stop there for questions. Nothing? Okay. So,
Can you,
yeah,
can you paste that into a document, the screenshot?
the screenshot, the way it's set up by default, you just Shift Command 4 and take a picture of something.
Yeah.
It just shows up as a little preview. You can click on. When it's done, it goes to your desktop. So here you go on your desktop. It's a screenshot with a date and time stamp automatically on it. You can certainly rename that if you want to give it a better name, but that's where they show up as on the desktop. Unless you set up Dropbox, and then they show up in a screenshots folder in Dropbox.
You can't paste it into a Word document.
If you have Dropbox, it gives you a little icon that you can click for copy on that little preview in the bottom right corner. Once you click copy, then you can go to any place and click paste. Yep. Otherwise, from here, you'd have to click Command C and then Command V to paste it.
See, okay. All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, so let's shift gears and talk about some kind of AI Siri related options. So in Mac OS 15.2 and above, currently the latest is 15.4, and I'm working on a way to let you all upgrade to that. My apologies, it hasn't worked yet. But you can use Siri or Hey Siri to trigger my phone is now lighting up. There we go. To start up the Siri, and I have a demonstration because I cannot run this while I'm in Zoom. So
You'll need to unlock your iPhone
I know,
first.
no, stop. Here's a video of me using Siri on the Mac. Hey Siri, tell my wife I'm running late. I'll stop by Bill's Garden Chinese to pick up supper on the way. So the keywords there are Hey Siri to start it out, and then and then I have set up in my contacts that my wife is Krista. It has her cell phone number, and then I just say the message, and then it asks me, do you want to send it? Yes. So without touching my mouse or my keyboard, I'm sending a text message to my wife. And that it's just, yeah, a very fast way to use the computer. And obviously you can do this on your phone as well, but you can use Hey Siri for other things on the computer very easily, even if you don't have an iPhone or you don't have your iPhone with you or you want the big screen to be able to copy and paste and whatnot. So that's the directions are in the document. It's in System Preferences and then under Apple Intelligence and Siri. And you can set it up the way you like. There is an option at the bottom called ChatGPT, which you can turn on. And by default, because Apple's big on privacy, it does not have you sign into ChatGPT. So it's a private instance of ChatGPT that you can use. That it'll integrate those the queries into ChatGPT and give you answers from there if you're interested. And you can either have it prompt you for that or not. Have it just do it automatically. There's also an image playground tool that's kind of, I don't know, fun to play with. You can create various images like World Cup soccer field with sunset. And it'll generate an image. So if you want something for your class, you can use this to generate an image. You just right click and choose save. And then when you click done, it's going to be in the image playground kind of gallery here. And then you can right click, copy, and paste into some other, folder. So that's image playground built in with 15.2 and above. All right, and then I mentioned duck.ai as an anonymous AI tool. Let's say in the browser here, we want to start doing a new search about World Cup soccer, Women's World Cup soccer. So I've got, what, 7 tabs open right now. I can do Command N to open a whole new window. I hope you're still seeing that with the green trees in the field here. And then I can start a search. I can do Women's World Cup 2027, hit enter. And now let's say that I find that there are 4 results here that I want to open. What a lot of people have done and I've seen is they go into one result, spend some time on it, and then they hit the back arrow and then find the next one, noticing which one's purple and which one's blue. So they know the purple ones are the ones they've already seen. You can actually open multiple links all at once. If you hold the command key down, they open up across the top. If you look at the top of the screen, I can open up multiple things and then use Command, Alt, and the right arrow to move through those one at a time, keeping open the ones that are useful and closing the rest. And then you could open up a new window and then start a new kind of line of inquiry. So let's say I want to duplicate this window and then take it to in another direction. Right click, duplicate, and then you could take a particular search in another direction. And closing tabs, Command W to close tabs, Command T to open a new tab. And then switching between windows. So we've talked about tiling windows, but what if I want to flip between PowerPoint and this Brave browser? Well, I can go down to PowerPoint at the bottom, but if I want to be able to flip between them and have them both full screen, I can use Command and Tab. Command and Tab, and that works between full screen and not full screen if you're interested. That's in the document. Command Tab, I use this probably 200 times a day to flip between applications. It's a little less disruptive if it's not full screen, if it's just filling the screen. There you go, flipping back and forth. Okay, then I'm going to go to the fastest, coolest shortcut I have. So I want to show you a tool called Canary. There is a Chrome Developers Edition. And the reason I'm showing you Google Chrome Canary today is because for 14 years, there's been a feature in Google Chrome and Brave, because Brave is built on Chrome, that has allowed a person to be able to go to a particular web page. Let's say you're interested in Inside Augsburg. I have it set up that I can type the letter I and hit enter and be on Inside Augsburg. This feature went away after 14 years, and there was a group of us that complained to Google developers. And at first they said, we're not going to bring it back. There's not enough of you using it. We made the case that we were using it hundreds of times a day, and they decided 3 days ago to bring it back. So at the end of the month, at the end of April, they're going to take what's in Google Chrome Canary, the developers version, and apply it again to Brave and Chrome. So you can set up a single letter to get to any web page on the planet. So I'll demonstrate how powerful this is. Command T for new tab. I can type F to find my form grading rubric that I have in a Google Doc. I don't have to go to Inside Augsburg, webmail, Google Drive, search. I can just have a single letter that goes to it, or a couple letters. I can do Command T and look for the Moodle Quick Build course, which I'm referencing, as I'm learning how to develop Moodle courses faster. or records and registration, Command T, R, enter. And I'm in records registration search. So how do you make these? Well, if you have a document with a shortcut, let's say the Augsburg calendar, and I want to copy this, I can copy this, or I can go even deeper. I could say, oh, give me a particular calendar. Copy the URL. You go into your three dots in the Brave or Chrome, and then search engine, and then manage search engine, and then add, and you paste in that URL. And then you say, okay, the name of this is, I'm just going to say calendar for 2026. It's just a friendly name for you. And then you pick a letter like C, or the number 26, or the number 6, or anything you want. And then to get to it, you do Command T, C, enter, and you're on that page. Any document, any web page, or any Google Doc, I should say, or any web page. And this is going to work at the end of April in Google Chrome and Chrome Canary and Brave. Let me know if you have questions on that. Okay, then let's say
Nathan, sorry.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
quick, wanted to point out to you that there are a couple of questions in the
Oh, I'm
chat.
sorry. It's really hard for me to keep track of that.
Yeah, no worries. That's why I wanted to mention it.
Okay, somebody had to run. All right, got it. Brave, yeah, thanks. Brave is a browser that's built on the Chromium core, so it's the same as Chrome, but it's built for privacy. So people say Chrome is built for tracking and Brave is built for privacy. Brave is available at brave.com. We covered this just at the very beginning, so yeah, thanks for asking. What else? Just to set up Siri to ping people. In the chat on Gmail. I don't think so. I wish. Or not yet anyway. But there's a shortcut coming that could help with that, or maybe. So let's say you're in Moodle and you're in the attendance block, right? And you want to give some feedback to students. You had a quick session here for yesterday, and you want to let's go to the report in the attendance and say, oh, you know what? I'm Augie has not attended very many times. I'm going to send them a message. This is a newly enabled feature. It's a big deal. Attendance in Moodle, selecting people that are not attending, click send message. And then I have a text replacement that I have set up. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I made a shortcut, YMC. And when I hit the space bar, oops, when I click on it, I guess, it fills in a whole bunch of text that I have saved. I used, AI to write this up. You can write up your own, whatever. So there is a way on a Mac to have text replacement happen when you type a couple letters in. Some people will do like a semicolon and then a letter. That's a nice way to do it because it's typically that you would not have a semicolon and a letter immediately after it. That's a good way to keep it unique so you're not accidentally typing these things. So I have one more to show you. That's let's say we're in quick mail in the course under the block on the right. You're composing a new message and you want students to remember that there's a forum post reminder that's due. So FPR, and I have this text replacement that happens. I can just click on it and it fills it in. So how do you add those? Well, Command spacebar for the spotlight and you search for text replacement. It's a setting in system settings. You double click and it's a very tiny window, but you can type texts anywhere and copy it and paste it in here. So this that dear student text I showed you first is all inside of here with enters and everything. And the FPR is all inside of this little tiny box. Other things that are handy to put in this text replacement are your email address, like the first letter of your email and then the @ symbol, and then hit the space bar for it to fill in, or your phone number, or your address, or messages that you frequently send to students when there's common issues, or you're reminding them of something. And these work pretty much just about everywhere. They don't work in Gmail and Safari, I found out. If you have trouble in Gmail in another browser, I have another way to use this, but These text replacements are super handy. I use them every day. And if you are logged into your computer in iCloud, they will sync to your any other Mac that you use and to your iPhone. So on your phone, you're walking from meeting to meeting, you've got some reply to send to a student, and you've got a 3-letter or 2-letter or 1-letter shortcut for it. You put in, semicolon F space bar. It's going to fill in that paragraph of information, fill in the student's name, and hit send. Saves a ton of time. Questions on that? Okay, so that's text replacement built into macOS and iOS, synced with iCloud. All right, we're almost done. If you want to type or dictate, I should say, there is an option in the operating system and this is pre 15.2 operating system, where you can double tap a key and you can start dictating, comma, new line. You can put in all kinds of special characters, new line, and then you can say something else. I don't know why the new line's not working, but anyway, there is an option for dictation. It even works during Zoom. Then you hit the control key to turn that off. So again, command spacebar, dictation. You have to enable this in system preferences. It's this little slider right here. You can pick a different language if you ever need that, and you can pick which key triggers it. So you press control twice on my computer to turn it on, control once to turn it back off again. Now, if that seems awkward and you'd rather have your voice recorded as feedback for a student, you can say, see my video feedback here. Oops. And then you can use some cool built-in tools. If these tools are not visible, you can click this little expand arrow and see more tools. There's a set of black recording tools and a set of white ones. The white ones do automatic captioning for you. So you can click this and you can record for a few seconds and then hit stop and then hit play for a few seconds. And then you can upload that and that will show up in the text box in Moodle. This is a Moodle specific option. So record for a few seconds and then any place you have a text box in Moodle, in announcements, in discussion forums, in an assignment, in feedback blocks, in attendance, anywhere you have a block, a text block with the text tools at the top, you can use these recording tools, audio, video, even screen recording. This is built in, 2-minute limit in any place in Moodle. All right, and then the last thing is other tools for, let's say, intelligence built into the operating system. So let's say we're looking up offsides in soccer, and we go to a page, and it's a lot of text. We want to summarize it. You can select a bunch of text and right-click and use writing tools to summarize or make key points or make a list or make a table or proofread it or rewrite it, etc. I'm going to do summarize. This is the AI tools built into 15.2 and above. You can click copy. It's on your clipboard. You can go to a doc now and you could paste that in. So that's right. You can use it for writing and summarizing and rewriting. Obviously, our students have access to this as well. It's built into the operating system. Can't stop them. I'm pretty much done. There's just 2 more tools I'll mention. One is Boodle Box, weird name, BOODLE box.ai. It's an aggregator for AI tools. So it lets you, I'm not signed in there. It lets you use a bunch of AI tools more privately and without having to go to each individual tool. It offers a whole bunch of tools. I'm not a super expert in it, but there's going to be a presentation including information about Boodlebox at Days in May by Alex Fink. from the social work department. And the last thing I think is my favorite tool is Loom, loom.com. I think I probably sent most of you a Loom video before. It's a screen recording with or without the video of yourself and your voice, showing what you're doing on the screen. So anytime you want to demonstrate anything, you can record that and it automatically makes a shareable link. It's free for educators, unlimited use, and it does captioning. There's my timer to stop so you have time for questions. All right. And that's it. I'm done.
Nathan, I came in a little late. Would you be able to send the share the document again?
Absolutely. I've got the link here.
And are you also going to share the recording for this video?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Here's the doc. Everyone, paste that in. And look, I made the document, the macOS efficiency shortcuts handout, gave commenting rights to everybody. So feel free to add comments if there are things that are missing or not clear or you want added or whatever. And then the recording I will send out to everybody on this list tomorrow.
And I have two quick questions if you have time.
Sure.
One was just when I did this new upgrade, it was prompting me to allow Google's or Apple Intelligence and Siri. Do you recommend in settings we allow that, or should we not, like from a university standpoint?
I think it's fine. There's no block on it. And when I played that video of me telling my wife I was running late, that was using Hey Siri on the computer. And so that's in that same area here. If it's under Apple Intelligence and Siri. So I turned on Siri. I have it listen for Hey Siri, which works if you're not in Zoom. And you can have a conversation. It'll keep listening, so you don't have to keep starting over like, Hey Siri, now here's my second thing. And after about 10 seconds of not talking, it'll stop. But Apple's known for their privacy. So if I'm going to use any kind of AI, I'm going to use it from Apple. It's near the top of my preferences in terms of using the powerful tools, but still maintaining privacy. And just remember at the bottom, ChatGPT, you can choose to leave that off. But even if you turn it on, it's not signed in, so it's private, relatively private. So yeah, that'd be fine if you turn that on as far as Augsburg is concerned.
Thank you. And then the one other question is, could you run through one more time how to do the letter shortcut?
Yeah.
I was trying to type the directions for the upcoming Canary update.
Yep. So it's in Canary now because it's a developer version. They agreed to bring it back, but in Chrome and in Brave, at the end of the month, it's going to reappear. Brave might be a couple days after because they build theirs upon the Chromium released by Google. But I could demonstrate it here. So you get a shortcut to anything. You copy that. You go to the three dots in the upper right, settings, search engine, manage search engine, and add. And then you paste in the URL, put in a letter. It can be letters and numbers. It can be numbers. It can be multiple letters, whatever. Put in a name. And then to use them, you open a new tab or a new window and hit the letter or that thing and hit enter, and it automatically goes there. If you try this prior, it's not going to let you put shortcuts in because it'll only accept certain kinds of shortcuts that have a percent and an S in them, which are made for a different kind of searching, which I find not very useful. But yeah, just give it a couple of weeks and you'll be able to use this tool. It's been around for 14 years. It's very underutilized, but I think super fast and powerful. So I've got like 20 of them, and I use probably 10 of those 20 every single day. I'm constantly doing, I for Inside Augsburg and D for Drive and whatever. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.